very much. Didn't think you had much of a ground game. I'm curious your reaction to that.
Ever since I've been into the UFC, a lot of people categorize me as a sprawler, but what a lot of people don't know is actually that the ground game is my comfort zone. So a lot of these girls come in, they talk about out wrestling me or wanting to do a lot of ground and pound, and really they're putting themselves in danger.
So you're putting a few wins together now. What do you think you're doing differently or just better than when you first got in the organization?
When I've been the only one to beat myself, if you ask me. It's been a lot of mental stuff for me. So now that's what's been a lot of our focus is just getting me mentally right. Because I'm a well-rounded fighter. I could be dangerous in all areas, and it was just a lot of people say that this is physical, but when it comes down to it, I think it's 70% mental.
What was the mental block?
Just a lot. I mean, I was doubting myself. I was giving my opponents way more credit than giving myself the credit. I have a ton of people around me who absolutely believe in me, but I wasn't believing in myself, and so I had to take a step back. I had to remember why I started this sport, and I had to fall in love all over again.
Is that why you got the Ultimate Fighter tattoo then?
That was definitely a milestone in my life, but I think the fight that lit the flame for me was the Holly Holm fight.
What was it about the Holly Holm fight? I mean, you talked about it before the split decision, and when you look back at that fight, did you just feel like that you were the better fighter that night, that you could have pushed more?
Yeah, I think Holly, she has a huge hype train following her, and besides being an athlete, I feel like I would make a really smart coach. I have the opportunity to coach a lot of other athletes, and just being able to look on the outside, I got to see the type of fighter that she is, and nowhere in there was I scared of her. I didn't exactly do what I had to obviously get that W, but if you ask me, I was chasing down a boxer, and I basically outboxed her.
How satisfied is it to get a decision victory? You mentioned before the decisions don't usually go your way, so finally got one in the bag. So how does it feel?
I got the W and I'm on my winning streak, but going to the judges is not where I want to be anymore. So I definitely have the hands. It's just putting the confidence behind it, and then I have the ground game, I have the wrestling game. So now it's going out there and just believing in myself from the very get-go and putting on a highlight performance.
Who would you like next?
I want anybody within the top 10. Of course, every girl brings a different challenge to the table, but if you ask me, I just broke the top 10, and it was a little frustrating for this fight. I don't want to take away from anybody, and I don't want to take away from Elizabeth Phillips. She did what she needed to get into the UFC. But when you're sitting here talking to people and they're like, who are you fighting? And I'm like, Elizabeth Phillips, and they're like, who's that? And you got to constantly explain things. It gets frustrating. So I definitely want somebody who's within the top 10. I feel like I have a lot of storyline with these girls that are up there, and I want to avenge some of my losses, and I want to go after what's important, and that's the world title.
So Holly Holm, is that what you want next?
If they give me Holly Holm, fine, I'll avenge my loss. If they give me any other girl, I'll take it as each one comes.
If you had to choose between Katzengano or Holly Holm, which loss would you want to avenge more?
Katzengano.
Why is that?
When I went into that fight, I actually, it was probably a fight. That was one of the fights that kind of hurt my pride a little bit, with the fact that none of these girls have done any damage to me. That was probably a fight I shouldn't have taken once I landed in Kansas City for that fight. I ended up getting food poisoning or some type of flu, but I was definitely sick the entire time. I passed out 3 different times during my weight cut, and me being the stubborn athlete that I am, I was the one that I couldn't pull from the fight. My coaches and everybody was like, this isn't a smart move from you. And back then, to me, it wasn't about recovery. It was about how mentally strong you can be. And I went out there, and I remember looking into the crowd, and I can see my mom just screaming at me. I'm the type of person that when I'm in the gym, I fight out of chokes. I'm like a little fish. I can breathe out of the smallest little gaps. And I remember specifically looking at my mom, and she was just screaming at me. And a part of me started to fight for that choke, and then I just gave up. So that's something that it kind of doesn't settle well with me.
You said before the fight that in your mind this had a 10-minute cap on it, that you're not going to go to the judges. With that in mind, obviously it did. Were you disappointed with your performance tonight, or can you take positives?
There's a positive from every performance. I went out there, I got the W. I obviously out-wrestled somebody who thought she was going to out-wrestle me. I was the one fighting for the submissions and stuff. So there's a ton of positives in there. It wasn't exactly the performance that I wanted. I don't feel like I should go to the judges anymore. So it's just something to take back in the gym and work harder for.
Yeah, and in terms of the longest winning streaks in this division, Juliana Peña's at 4, it's you with 3, and Amanda Nunes at 3. So do you feel like you belong in fights with those top-ranked fighters then?
Oh, I definitely belong there. I mean, Juliana, she's sitting here, she's climbing the ranks and doing everything. But, I mean, I was on the show with her, and there's a lot of heat there. It's somebody that I definitely want. When it comes down to the politics and stuff, it's something that I have to wait for. I got to correct my record a little bit. So if that's the path that I'm supposed to be on, then I'll just continue to prove myself.
What was the heat that you guys had on?
I mean, I think everybody kind of had it in mind to where we would go in there, she would win the semifinals, I'd win the semifinals, and we would match up in the finale. The Ultimate Fighter is a lot harder than a lot of people realize. I came out with some serious injuries when it came to fighting Jessamine Duke, and to turn around and try to fight 10 days later and go into the semifinal fight with the injuries that I did have. I mean, another girl didn't finish me, but I obviously lost in that. So not being able to get that fight with her in the finale, it's definitely something. We're both signed to the UFC, and it's somewhere I want to be.
She seems to strongly believe that she deserves the next title shot. Do you think she's done enough to get that?
She does, I mean, everybody's working their butt off. And for a little while, I think that UFC had it to where it was this triangle or square effect, however you want to look at it, with Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate. And now other girls are finally getting the opportunity. I mean, we don't go into the gym every day with blood, sweat, and tears for no reason. That's the ultimate goal. So, I mean, if she's the one that's up next, then have at it.
We spoke to you earlier about your journaling leading up to your fight. Just wondering if you got a chance to write anything today. What do you think you might write tonight?
I did. I wrote a little bit today when I was getting my hair braided. Just a lot of positive thoughts, kind of thoughts that were running in my head. If some negative ones popped up in there, I would kind of transition that into a positive one. I spent a lot of quality time with the people that I love while I was getting my hair braided. So in my mind, that was a little bit of journaling for me. It was just a different type of journaling. Tonight, I'm just going to go out and enjoy my time with everyone. I mean, I have a ton of support here. They came from Colorado. They came from all over the world. And I sold tons of tickets. And it's just, I want to go enjoy my night. I got another W. And then when I get back home, I'll start my journaling. And then I'll get back into the gym and do it right.
I didn't notice, is Tisha here? Did she make it?
Tisha is here.
Nice.
Yep.